Good evening and welcome to our Glendale City Council meeting. If you would like to speak on any of the items that are on the agenda, please fill out a gold card and hand it to the police officer in the back of the room. The mayor will call your name, and when it's your turn to speak, you can make your way to the podium. All speakers have 3 minutes. If you would like to talk about an item that's not on the agenda, please complete a blue speaker card and give that one to the officer in the back of the room. Items that are not on the agenda are heard at the end of the voting meeting. Glendale has 7 city council members. Mayor Jerry Wires, Vice Mayor Lauren Tomachoff of the Cholla District, Councilmember Diana Guzman of the Yucca District, Councilmember Leandro Baldenegro of the Ocotillo District, Councilmember Bart Turner of the Beryl District, Councilmember Ray Malnar of the Saguaro District, and Councilmember Lupe Conchas of the Cactus District. This meeting is streaming live on Glendale's Facebook and YouTube pages, as well as the city's cable television station, Glendale Channel 11. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening and welcome to the April 22nd, 2025 Glendale City Council meeting. This meeting is called to order. I'm going to take a roll call vote. Councilmember Baldenegro.
Here.
Councilmember Conchas.
Here.
Councilmember Guzman. Here. Councilmember Melnar.
Present.
Councilmember Turner.
Present.
And I am present. Mayor Wires is excused. He's out of town at a conference. Next thing on the agenda is the invocation that will be delivered by Anita Stewart of Kingdom Impact Global Center. Ms. Stewart, could you please come to the podium? If you'd stand in prayer with Ms. Stewart.
Thank you. Thank you. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you tonight. We come together to lift your name up, and we come to pray for this city council meeting and even for the city council members. We pray tonight that your wisdom, your guidance, and your direction would be upon them as they deliberate over matters that will affect the families, communities, and even city. And so we ask tonight that you would just continue to allow them to move in ways that would glorify your name. And so we thank you for the integrity and justice tonight that each one of them will model, and even us as citizens. And so we do this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Please remain standing and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. The next item on the agenda is consideration of the minutes from the April 8th, 2025 voting meeting. Do we have a motion?
Vice Mayor, I'd like to approve the minutes for the April 8th, 2025 meeting.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, the next thing on the agenda is a proclamation for May is Water Safety Month. So Kyle White, Recreation Coordinator with Glendale Parks and Recreation, along with Gary Benson, Assistant Fire Chief John Chester, Public Information Officer Ashley Chrisman, Community Risk Reduction Manager with the Fire Department, will be accepting the proclamation. Could you join me at the podium, please? Okay, so I'm going to read the proclamation. On behalf of Mayor Jerry Wires, whereas Water Safety Month will raise awareness that the number and impact of all drownings in Arizona affects everyone, and whereas in 2024 there were a total of 157 water-related incidents in Maricopa and Pinal counties, resulting in 79 deaths, 24 of which were children, and in Glendale in 2024 there were 4 water-related incidents which resulted in deaths. And whereas a child, teen, or an adult drowning can happen to any family regardless of education, race, or socioeconomic background, and whereas families can take simple steps to protect their children, teens, and adult family members around water to avoid the tragedy of the unnecessary loss of life, and whereas these simple steps include the ABCs of water safety: A, adult supervision; B, barriers to include fences with self-closing and self-gating locks; and C, swimming classes and Coast Guard approved life jackets. And whereas keeping children and families healthy and safe is a priority of the Glendale Fire Department, the Glendale Parks and Recreation Department, the City of Glendale, and other prevention institutions in Arizona, and providing education, raising awareness to the need for adult supervision and barriers, and offering swimming classes will increase the understanding of effective ways to prevent drownings. Now therefore, on behalf of Mayor Jerry Wires, the City of Glendale of Arizona, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2025 Water Safety Month. Call upon the citizens of Glendale to join us and recognize the importance of protecting your children and families around water at all times. And it's signed by Mayor Jerry Wires. Any of you like to speak? Please.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor Tomachov, for recognizing May as Water Safety Month, this important time to raise awareness. My name is Ashley Chrisman. I am a staff member of the Glendale Fire Department and a board member of the Drowning Prevention Coalition of Arizona. Water is a part of our daily lives here in Arizona. We see it with our pools, our lakes, our canals that we might live around, and it's really important to understand that there's risk involved with having those so close by and near our homes. Drowning is the leading cause of accidental deaths for children between 1 and 4 years old, and every one of those deaths is 100% preventable. Some key takeaways is make sure that you have constant supervision, because that can save a life. Barriers around water can save a life. Swimming lessons can save a life. Coast Guard approved life jackets can also save a life. And knowing CPR is a vital part of saving lives. Community awareness, thank you all for being here, because a part of that is understanding that water is dangerous. It is fast, it is silent, and also 100% preventable. This Saturday, we're hosting a water safety workshop for parents, families, and caregivers to learn about water safety and get some more helpful tips and tricks. We'd love to see you there. It's from 9 to noon at Glendale Community College. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you for all you do to protect our families, and especially our children around water. Well, who's going to get this? Want us back here? Okay, I'm going to stay here because we're going to do boards and commissions next. So,
Vice Mayor. May I say something on the water
Absolutely.
safety month? Yeah, thank you very much. I know that one of the things that's really important is pool gates. So I look forward to working with the Department of Public and Private Partnerships to see how we can install more pool gates, not only in the Cactus District, but across Glendale, because I know that with skyrocketing home prices, it could be a secondary thought, and it could definitely save lives. So thank you very much for the mayor for proclaiming May Water Safety Month. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
thank you, Councilmember Coaches. Okay, the next item on the agenda is boards and commissions appointments. Mr. Milner, do you have that motion?
I do. I move to make the following appointments. To the Citizens Transportation Oversight Commission, Bobby Erdman to a term expiring January 31st, 2027. Sid Andrus to a term expiring January 31st, 2026. To the Citizens Utility Advisory Commission, Brian Peruz to a term expiring January 31st, 2026. To the Citizens Bond Committee, Ian Hugh to a term expiring January 31st, 2026. Lisa Baker to a term expiring January 31st, 2026. Gary Hirsch to a term expiring January 31st, 2026. James Nigel to a term expiring January 31st, 2026. David Giles to a term expiring January 31st, 2026. Lisa Schillier to a term expiring January 31st, 2026. And Joyce Clark to a term expiring January 31st, 2026. To the Commission on Diverse Cultures, Sylvia Acosta to a term expiring January 31st, 2027. And to the Library Advisory Board, Jody Decker to a term expiring January 31st, 2027.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Okay, the ayes have it. If you're here and your name was called, please come forward and we'll swear you in. I will swear you in. Got a nice crowd tonight. We're going. Here? Oh, right. I just don't want to turn my back. It doesn't matter. Okay, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. I, do solemnly swear and affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States. Okay, go ahead. Wait, that's okay, you can read it if you want to. I'll start it, that I will be true, faith, I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. And defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And that I will willfully and impartially discharge the duties of my office to the best of my ability. I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of my office according to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations. Thank you for serving. I want to take it. Okay. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. These items are routine in nature and have either been previously discussed or presented in a council workshop or study session, and they're intended to be acted upon in one motion by the city council. Do we have any speaker cards?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Vice Mayor,
Yes.
I move that the council approve consent agenda items number 4 through number 17.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Next item are consent resolutions. Ms. Bauer, could you please read consent resolutions number 18 through 21?
Item 18, resolution number R 25-28, a resolution of the council of the city of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, approving the submission of 6 Fort McDowell Yavapai Nation Proposition 202 grant applications, 2 on behalf of 2 community-based organizations serving Glendale residents in the total amount of $30,000, and 4 applications from the Glendale Police Department for public safety in the total amount of $36,397. Item 19, resolution number R 25-29, a resolution of the council of the city of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, authorizing and directing the entering into of amendment number 7 to the intergovernmental agreement between Maricopa County, administered by its Human Services Department, and city of Glendale concerning the Home Investment Partnerships Home Program. Item 20, resolution number R 25-30, a resolution of the council of the city of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, approving and authorizing submission of the 5-year consolidated plan for fiscal years 2025 through 2029 and the annual action plan for fiscal year 2025 through 2026 to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and for accepting a community development block grant in the estimated amount of $2,351,551, a home investment partnerships program estimated allocation in the amount of $655,225, and emergency solutions grants funding in the estimated amount of $206,952, and approving and authorizing submission of the fiscal year 24-25 substantial annual action plan amendment in the amount of $253,614.57. Item 21, resolution number R 25-31, a resolution of the council of the city of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, adopting this notice of intention to increase water and sewer user charges, urban irrigation rates, and establish a stormwater fee and rate, setting a public hearing on proposed increases, and filing written reports supporting the proposed increases with the city clerk. That concludes the consent resolutions.
Thank you, Ms. Bauer. Do we have any speaker cards?
No, Vice Mayor.
Okay, so can I get a motion to approve consent resolutions?
Vice Mayor. I
Councilmember
move-
Turner.
Thank you. I move we approve consent resolutions 18 through 21.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, the next item on our agenda, land development actions. Ms. Bauer, could you please introduce item number 22?
Ordinance number O-25-16, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, rezoning 32 acres located at the northwest corner of 99th Avenue and Myrtle Avenue from PAD Planned Area Development to PAD Planned Area Development for a development plan entitled Dignity Health Desert River 3 PAD, amending the zoning map, providing for an effective date, and ordering that a certified copy of the ordinance is recorded. Public hearing required.
Vice Mayor, members of the council, here to provide staff report this evening is Glendale Planner 3, Alex Lerma.
Okay, before you begin, Mr. Lerma, I'm going to open the public hearing. Public hearing on item number 22 is now open. Please go ahead.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, members of the council. Before you is a land use action item. And that is the wrong presentation. My apologies. Just take.
Just give us a moment to switch the slideshow. There we go. Thank you.
Again, Vice Mayor, members of the council, before you, you have a rezoning request. The applicant is requesting to rezone the subject property from planned area development to planned area development to allow the expansion of medical uses on the site. Property is located 5 miles west of City Hall. The 32-acre site is located on the northwest corner of 99th Avenue and Myrtle Avenue. The 3 properties located within the Yucca District. Before you is the zoning map. Again, the property is zoned planned area development. Surrounding properties are going to have the same zoning classification of planned area development. The site is currently being used for a medical campus. The existing medical building was erected in 2013, and an expansion of the medical building was done in 2016. In total, there's a 67,000 square feet of building area. The medical campus currently is being used for medical services, including surgical, orthopedic, and emergency room services. The intent of the PAD is to expand on the medical uses that are allowed on site, to allow a broader range of healthcare and medical uses as part of the site's entitlements, which would include rehabilitation hospital, ambulatory surgical centers, and behavioral health facilities. The PAD will also allow more flexibility for development when the site is ready to expand. Site access is located along 3 access points. One access point is going to be along 99th Avenue and 2 access points along Desert River Boulevard. The applicant has completed the citizens outreach process and legal requirements for public notification. The item went before the Planning Commission on March 27, 2025. There were no speakers who spoke on this item, and there were no significant concerns. The Planning Commission recommended approval of ZON 2310, subject to the two stipulations that are included within the staff report. Vice Mayor, council members, this concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Lerma. I don't have any speaker cards. Ms. Bauer, no speaker cards?
No, Vice Mayor.
Would anybody like to speak on item number 22? Okay, the public hearing on this item is now closed. Council members, do you have any questions? No? Okay. Can we get a motion? Who has item number
Mayor,
22? Thank
Vice
you.
Mayor, I move that the council approve ordinance number 025-16 and waive reading beyond the title.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion from Councilmember Conchas, a second from Councilmember Aldenegro. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, the item passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is item number 23. Could you please introduce item number 23, Ms. Bauer?
Resolution number R 25-32, a resolution of the Council of the City of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, amending the general plan map of the City of Glendale, Arizona by approving the general plan amendment GPA 24-04 for property located west of the southwest corner of 75th Avenue and Rose Garden Lane, and ordinance number O 25-17, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, rezoning 19.4 acres located west of the southwest corner of 75th Avenue and Rose Garden Lane from A1 agricultural and PAD planned area development to PAD planned area development for a development plan entitled Broadstone Arrowhead, amending the zoning map, providing for an effective date, and ordering that a certified copy of the ordinance is recorded. Public hearing required.
Thank you, Ms. Bauer. Public hearing on item number 23 is now open. Go ahead, Mr. Lerma.
Thank you. Vice Mayor, members of the commission, before you, there are two requests before you. The first request is for a minor general plan amendment. The applicant seeks to change the property's designation from parks and open space and low-density residential to high-density residential up to 20 dwelling units per the acre. The second request is for a rezone to change the property's zoning classification from agriculture to planned area development to planned area development. Property is located 10 miles northwest of City Hall. The site is approximately 19 acres in size and is located west of the southwest corner of 75th Avenue and Rose Garden Lane. The property is within the Cholla Council District. Property has a zoning classification, again, of agriculture and planned area development. Properties surrounding the subject property are gonna be have the same zoning classification as well of planned area development. As you can see within the aerial map here, the property is bordering on the west perimeter of the city boundaries along the New River Road, and adjacent is City of Peoria. The subject property is currently being used for as outdoor recreational for the Church of Joy and the Christian Church. Along the west perimeter of the site is identified within the Open Space Trails Master Plan and the Parks and Recreational Master Plan as a multi-use pedestrian path that starts along Pinnacle Peak Road and ends at Bell Road. Existing uses, the surrounding existing uses are going to be the Reserve at Eagle Heights to the north, which is a single-family residential subdivision. To the west is the New River. To the south is the Sparrow Multifamily Project, and to the east is the Dream City Church and School. The applicant seeks to establish a planned area development in order to develop a 368-acre residential multifamily project, which will offer 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms, both in townhome style and apartment style buildings. The applicant determines that the project will be completed in one phase. The subject property has a primary point of access along Desert River Lane, Rose Garden Lane, and a secondary access along the east perimeter of the project, going through the Church of Joy Boulevard. There's two emergency access on the opposite sides of the primary access along Rose Garden Lane. Before you are conceptual elevations depicting both the townhome style elevations and the apartment style elevations. In total, the property owner is offering 78 units that'll be townhome style living quarters and 290 apartment style buildings. Just to go back on this slide, the developer has strategically placed the buildings in order to allow a density transition as a property goes southbound. Taking into account the single-family residential to the north, the developer has located the townhome-style two-story buildings to being located closest to the single-family residential. And as you go southbound, transitioning over, the density gets higher with the multifamily buildings that are going to be 3 stories high. The applicant has completed the citizens outreach process. The neighborhood meeting was conducted on June 19th, 2024. There were 23 attendees at said meeting. Those who attended the meeting brought up issues regarding the increase in traffic. The property owners to the north brought up the concerns of both vehicle traffic and pedestrian traffic going through their neighborhood in order to get to certain areas of the surrounding area, as well as the density of the project. The applicant has completed the legal requirements for notification. The item was heard before the Planning Commission on March 27, 2025. At said meeting, there were 6 speakers who spoke again, raising concerns about increase of traffic within the area, specifically pedestrian traffic and vehicle traffic going through their neighborhood. There were 2 stipulations that the staff recommended based on the concerns of the residents. One of those stipulations was removed. The Planning Commission recommended approval of GPA 2404 as written and recommended approval of ZON 2408 with 1 stipulation that's included within the council staff report. On April 18th, staff received a petition from the residents of Eagle Heights, or Reserve at Eagle Heights. The petition was signed by 64 of the 82 homeowners in opposition of both the request, the general plan amendment and the zoning action. The petition failed to meet the statutory requirements that would require a supermajority vote. Vice Mayor, members of the commission, this concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Deputy Director is also here, as well as Parks and Rec Director and Transportation Department to assist with the questions.
Thank you, Mr. Lerma. Before we start calling up the speakers, I would like to ask you, though, that the petition, I believe that the petition had basically an offer to exchange something for the support of the community, a gate.
Vice Mayor, council members, that is, as stated here, it says, as stated in the petition, those signing will not withdraw opposition unless the city provides a fenced and gated residential residence and emergency only access on 75th Lane, making secondary access to Eagle Heights community.
Thank you, Mr. Lerma. Okay. First speaker is Jeff Vietri. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong, Jeff. Please come up. And after Jeff, it will be Justine Hugh. Be prepared, Justine. Thank you.
Just a clarifying point before I start, as I was the one who passed the petition around. It is not for the city to provide a gate. It is for the city to approve the gate, which has been agreed to be funded by the developer in conversation with them. My name is Jeff Vietri, a resident of the Eagle Heights community in the Cholla district. I'm a third-generation Glendale resident of 37 years and chose fourth generation here. I submitted a letter on Friday to the Director of Development Services for the City of Glendale. Position.
Jeff, hang on just a second, Jeff. We'll restart his time. I don't know what's happened. He's going to bring you another mic, I think. Sorry about that. We'll reset your time. You have 3 minutes.
Okay. I submitted a letter on Friday to the Director of Development Services for the City of Glendale, accompanied by a petition in opposition of the Broadstone Arrowhead project unless the city approves a fenced and gated residence and emergency-only access, which is secondary access to our Eagle Heights community. As mentioned, this has been discussed with the developer and would be funded by the developer. This petition is signed by 64 of our 82 homeowners. Given time to reach the remaining less HOA board members who did not sign the petition, I'm confident all would. The commission's unanimous approval a couple of weeks back to advance the rezoning process was concerning to me and many residents in our community. The land in question that's being sold to the developer for apartments will significantly alter the character and, in my opinion, the functionality of our neighborhood. I have concerns around traffic flow. I have concerns around neighborhood impact. I have concerns around the traffic on 75th Avenue. 75th Avenue north of the 101 already experiences an obscene level of traffic, and through traffic ends less than a mile north of Deer Valley Road. This may have changed since a couple of weeks ago. I have concerns about where the residents would attend school. Both my kids go to the elementary school and the high school that it would be zoned for. Both are over capacity and on wait lists. From a safety perspective, I'm concerned about the safety of my children who play in the area, increased traffic and construction activities that could pose risks. Property value, I believe, would be impacted. The traffic increase, we have an occasional impatient driver who will zip through our neighborhood primarily in the morning when the church's school gets into session. I live in a corner perfectly positioned to see them come in one entrance and out the secondary entrance. It's very obvious because residents in our community, I have not seen a single one in the entire time I've lived there driving at an obscene speed. The city, the developer, and definitely the church want this to go through. And while I believe that I speak for our community when I say that I believe the project is not right for the area, we are asking for a minuscule concession to support it. The developer has already kindly agreed to fund the gate for that secondary access, realizing that the backup of traffic that's going to exist on Rose Garden Lane, with both entrances being closest to Rose Garden Lane, will be significant. I'd ask the city to consider approving a gate for the secondary access. Thank you.
Thank you. Justine? And after Justine, we have Jay Mugar.
Hello, my name is Justine, and I'm one of the residents living in the Eagle Heights neighborhood. And I would briefly like to speak on behalf of all the parents with children in our neighborhood. I have two little children, 7 and 10, and I truly believe that this gate will be very helpful to ensure safety of our kids walking, biking, and playing on the curb and sidewalks. This gate will hinder unnecessary traffic going through the neighborhood to bypass the traffic jam on the 75th Avenue, which happens quite a lot even now. If you could please consider approving the installation of the gate for the safety of our kids, it would be very much appreciated. Thank you.
Jay? After Jay, Arnold Deutschen.
My name is Jay Muger. I also live in Eagle Heights.
Could you pull the mic up to your, just pull it up a little bit. There you go.
I
Thank
also
you.
live in Eagle Heights. Longtime Glendale resident. Kind of got in on the process a little bit late, so I don't know all the specifics, but as Jeff just said, hit on every point that I could have made, so really don't want to muddy the waters with, going on about it, but I would just say ditto on everything Jeff says. And I personally would be disappointed if, however the process works, that it can't be approved for this gate. That kind of seems to work for everybody, but it seems like hasn't really been done before, but common sense seems like we should be able to get this done. Thank you.
After,
Good evening.
after Arnold is Tom Schleifer, and my mic was off. Thank you.
Good evening, Acting Mayor and Council. I'm Arnold Deutschen, President of the Eagle Heights, the Reserve at Eagle Heights HOA. I'm here to state that the board has worked diligently with the developer and have come up with an agreement with the developer to do certain things as part of the development. And one of those things, he has graciously included up to $150,000 for us to do traffic mitigation. And it's very important, as you've heard tonight, that we do this. And by gating our 75th lane entrance as a residents only in or out will help get rid of the through traffic, which we experience now because of the Dream City Church. They come in at Firebird off of 75th, cut through our development, get out at Rose Garden, and go onto the church property. And I think, as one of our speakers mentioned, they don't follow the traffic regulations. They do it at high speed. So I'm here to let you know that we are anxiously, hopefully, be able to get this gate installed during the construction of the development project. Thank you.
Tom Schleifer?
Tom Schleifer. I live at 7577 West Firebird Drive. I do oppose, not the apartments, I oppose the traffic. As everybody is saying, we just need a gate. We think the city should be able to help us with that. We were told that we would never get it. I don't know what that reason is, but we really need that gate for safety. I have grandkids that I'm raising, and it's nothing about the apartments. Everybody's okay with the apartments, as far as I know. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Jeremy Goad. And after Jeremy is Ron Newhouse.
Good evening, Vice Mayor Tomachoff. My name is Jeremy Goad. I live in the Reserve at Eagle Heights. I'm also on the board.
Pull the mic up a little bit.
Can
you
you
pull
not
the
hear
mic?
me?
There we go. Thank you,
Sorry,
Jeremy.
I'm fairly soft-spoken to begin with, so that doesn't help. So I live in Eagle Heights. I'm on the board. The applicant's been gracious. We're happy with their product, but the reoccurring theme tonight is going to be traffic mitigation. I understand that there's not a gate proposal in front of you here tonight, but we would ask the city's help in mitigating traffic through our neighborhood. We think there's going to be a substantial number of vehicles coming to the new development, and we think our neighborhood is going to be used as a cut through to get there based on the current traffic that there already is. So maybe not tonight, maybe in 6 months from now, we'll come back with a PAD amendment of our own and ask the council to please help us mitigate traffic in our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Ron?
Good evening, Acting Mayor and members of the council. My name is Ron Newhouse, and I live at 7560 West Trails Drive in the Reserve at Eagle Heights. There's not a whole lot that I can add. You know, I've got to say that Alliance, our developer, you know, we did a little research when they put their proposal in, and they are a quality developer. They are good people. They've made some concessions to us and helped us along the way. So we feel very comfortable with them and as a developer. What we don't feel comfortable with is 368 apartments and the traffic that they generate. So it's the traffic issue, as everybody has said. So we're really concerned, and I don't know if you got it, but I sent a little little aerial there that, yeah, everybody should have that. That'll probably take my 3 minutes to get it circulated here, but it does show you what the concern is. I mean, there's two things. First of all, there will be, according to the traffic study, about 2,500 new trips per day on Rose Garden Lane. And virtually now, west of our secondary access on 75th Lane, we have virtually no traffic. So we go from 0 to 2,500 behind about 6 or 8 of our members of our community there. And then another big concern is what we've called this cut-through traffic, which does happen now, where folks coming south on 75th Avenue access the school or the church or the retail that's there. And I've witnessed it. I'm one of those people on that red lane. I've seen it happen. And so if you add 368 apartments and their traffic to that, it is really of concern in terms of safety. And so we feel like it's not too big of an ask to consider this gate. It would be on a private track. We know that you'd have to abandon it. It would have to be privatized. We'd have to meet the standards for a gate, but it would be a gate on our private property that would be for residents only, in and out, and for emergency vehicles. And there are several communities in the Glendale area where you have a single entrance into a community that is about our size. And so that's really all this becomes. It's a single entrance with, oh, by the way, this track, this private track that has our gate on it. I know we've heard the word, we don't want to set a precedence. You know, to me, in all practicality, in use and in operation, it is really no different than these single entrance subdivisions that you have in the Glendale community. So we really are asking for your consideration for what will be a PAD amendment and a replat. We know that has to happen, and we're prepared to do that. And we're thankful for our developer that they will work with us to get that done. You know, I had this, I know this looks a little dramatic, but I had this little pamphlet here on Proposition 401 and 402. I was going to read some excerpts.
I'm sorry,
from
Ron,
it.
but you're out of time.
I know I am.
Thank you.
But we know that that's important, that those propositions are very important to the general community and all the citizens of Glendale. This property and this project is important to our little 82-member community. So we ask for your help, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Ron. Brian Greathouse would like to speak. Brian?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I didn't know if I needed to turn in a card to speak, but I did.
Thank
just
you.
in case. For your record, my name is Brian Greathouse. I represent the developer here, Alliance Residential Company. We heard glowing remarks about Alliance here tonight. They're a very high-quality national developer of really luxurious multifamily communities. We believe it fits awesome on the site as a transitional piece with townhomes on the north, transitioning to 3-story apartments, to the existing 3-story apartments, and then a lot of different mix of uses in here with medical facilities, a gym, restaurants. I didn't hear any complaints about what type of development this is. It will be a very nice development. addressing the cut-through discussion that was pretty much the whole time here tonight, Alliance has offered money to study the cut-through traffic if it became a problem from residents of this community. We heard a lot about existing cut-through problems that they experience. We haven't studied that. If it is a problem, they're definitely not Alliance's residents. But just to be good neighbors, we've also offered money to address traffic mitigation, including if this we're not the approving body, the residents are not the approving body, the city is, and with city approval and anything you guys want to do, that would be supported by Alliance as good neighbors. And then we've also offered to design a pork chop for 75th Lane where it meets Rose Garden Lane. I believe my client's gone way above and beyond what's expected of a developer, but to be a good neighbor, they've done a great job here, and we've been communicating with these the leaders of this neighborhood for over a year in many, many meetings, and sent out 300 notices, had a neighborhood meeting even before we filed an application. We've gone about this what I believe is the correct way to engage a community, and we're here now today, and I did not hear a whole lot of opposition. I heard gate. Thank you very much. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Councilmember Maldonado?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Just a few questions. One, this is one gate and not two, correct? I'm only on the map. I'm seeing the part where they're wanting or asking to.
That's what's
permission for one gate,
proposed.
right?
That's what's proposed.
Or what's
yeah.
proposed? I'm sorry. And the other question is it a automated gate? Who have plans been discussed? Who's taking care of that automation? Who's paying for all that? Those are the kind of questions I'm thinking about for fire, police, for everything else. I understand the other entrance doesn't have a gate, but in an emergency, I'm pretty sure everyone's going to want that gate open for those emergencies. I'm just asking those questions about that.
Council member, for clarification, are you speaking of Alliance's development, or are you speaking of the Eagle Heights subdivision?
Subdivision.
Okay. I would prefer to let somebody with the city answer that.
If I could, just because I mean, this discussion about the gate has been going on for over a year, through transportation, through the city attorney's office, through my office, and what the issue is, and I want the residents of Eagle Heights to understand this, is that your zoning, your PAD zoning that was approved to build your community states that the streets are public. So in order to make any changes to that, I think some of you understand that you'd have to get your zoning amended. I don't believe the city. I've been told it's an all or nothing proposition by people within city departments that we don't allow the gates that are single entrance gates. Those communities were developed as single entrance gates. They're not cities that we allowed somebody to come in later and put just a single gate up and gate off one side of a neighborhood. We've not done that ever. But yeah, I believe you're allowed to try to get a single gate, that zoning change, but even the city, on city-owned property, just so you understand, we don't even override zoning on city-owned property. If we have city-owned property and we want to sell it or do something else with it, we have to run a zoning case just like everybody else does. So we do not override zoning. So you're welcome, and I know, Jeremy, I've sent you at least just a preliminary list of things that would need to happen in order to put a gate up, and you're welcome to try to do that, but that's a completely separate issue from tonight. And I think you heard that the residents understood that Alliance has proven that they want to be a good neighbor. They've done a lot of work with this community to try to be a good neighbor and if you'd like to speak to Brian with the two-story residences, but with even the windows in the two-story residence that are facing the reserve at Eagle Heights, and I don't remember what those are called, but they've done a lot of even just small things to try to accommodate and soften the impact and minimize the impact to the residents in the reserve at Eagle Heights. So the gate is, I understand it's something you want, but that would be, I guess you got seed money to go ahead and try to run a zoning case, but we can't just override the zoning for your PAD says your streets are public. And that would have to be changed. So at least that's the way I understand it. Mr. Gruber, if you'd like to weigh in? No, that's the way it is. So, so that would be a whole separate thing that would be coming through the planning commission, to the council, all of that, to do the gate. So, I don't know if there's any more questions for Mr.
Vice Mayor?
Greathouse. Yeah, Councilmember Turner.
Thank you. And I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but to add to the point that you're making, that if the community wants to be gated, they have to, the streets become private, and it's not just that they're called private, it means that all of the upkeep and repair and everything to those streets becomes the responsibility of the property owners or the HOA. And so there's a very large financial consideration that you would need to consider. If it's not just the cost of the gate that somebody else is willing to pay for, it would be taking over the responsibility for the streets and their repair in perpetuity. Thank you.
Thank you. And I've got, just for the sake that there are probably some people here who are not aware, but I sent this email on in May of 2024. And it says that the desire to have a gate at the southerly entrance must privatize all of the roads in the neighborhood to gating off any access point. The city has a non-delegable duty to maintain the streets. The request would be contrary to most approved design standards. It would need to be an all or nothing proposition. The PAD provides that all roads shall be public. They must obtain an amendment to the zoning if they desire to privatize the roads. As part of the application, we will require a Prop 207 waiver from all property owners in the neighborhood and those associated with the development to the south, as the PAD references that Rose Garden was intended to be the primary access to the development. They would need to attain fire, public safety, and solid waste approval. This is a discretionary approval and may require some conditions. They will need to meet those conditions. They would need to accept the roads in as-is condition and accept all future maintenance and identify the city against any defects or maintenance to date. Any abandonment or dedication by the city will need to be accepted in writing by all property owners in the neighborhood and recorded against all properties in the development. An indemnity agreement signed by all property owners jointly and severally that indemnifies the city against any claims that may arise out of interference of the property rights set forth in that plat. And that's just the beginning part. I've been told there's more to it than that, but that was provided to your board. And that, I mean, we're fine with running a zoning case and seeing if you can get an approval to amend your PAD to do that, but that's not what we're here to talk about tonight. So if nobody has any more questions for Mr. Greathouse, does anybody know? I'm going to close the public hearing. Public hearing on item number 23 is now closed. Does anybody have any questions or any further discussion? Councilmember Melner.
Thank you. Yeah, this is, I haven't been appraised of all this, so this is rather new to me. Have we looked at the option of putting up, say, no through traffic signs? And I'd like to hear from our attorney. If we did that, is it enforceable by our police department if there is a lot of through traffic to actually ticket those folks?
Vice Chair and council members, that's something that we can consider. Our staff would have to look at that to determine if that's something that we could, that our police could.
So there could be some other viable options that may minimize, not necessarily eliminate, but minimize the through traffic?
Vice Mayor and Councilmember Malnar, yes, if you're referring to options in addition to the gate, certainly there could be other options.
And I do have one question since I wasn't privy to all this going on. When you put just one gate, is it required that you privatize the entire community? Because you still have public access through the other access. So you're not locking out the public from anywhere.
It's my understanding that the city has a policy that we do not, and I see Mr. Abbo sitting in the audience, that it's an all or nothing proposition. We're not going to start allowing people to gate off one side of a neighborhood. And I can understand where that could become a very dangerous precedent. To start allowing, if we allow it here, where else would we have to allow somebody saying, I don't want.
Yeah, we would have to allow it everywhere.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the problem, is that it can't just be a one-off. And it's a relatively small community, and if they'd like to privatize the roads, I would like to say, and I see Mr. Abo sitting in the audience, that the city has offered to do a traffic study, a preliminary traffic study, and do a car count now or sometime, in the near future, and then come back and do another car count, basically on 75th Drive, which is what is the concern is about how people would enter and cut through. And if we do determine that there's cut more traffic once the project's 80 or 90% full, then we can look at some mitigation, whether it would be possible speed humps on 75th Drive, because there's no homes facing 75th Drive. So there's other remedies to deter people from cutting through there besides gating the community. But there's been, a lot of conversation around this concern that there's going to be cut-through traffic. And there are things we can do. There's things that the community could do as well. But the city's not willing to start letting people gate off, this street and this street and this street and this street. And that's what we would be doing. So that's
Okay.
my understanding. Is
Thank
that
you.
correct, Mr. Gruber?
Vice Mayor, I have a question.
Yes.
Vice Mayor, yes, that's correct.
Okay. Councilmember Guzman.
Are they having a lot of cut-through traffic now?
I spoke to a resident that lives on Trails, which would be where they would have to go to get out, and I was told no, that this person does not notice any cut-through traffic. And the only homes that would be facing it are the homes on Trails, because I don't know if you can see the map where you would come in
Yeah.
off of Firebird, south on 75th Drive, and then over onto Trails, out onto Rose Garden. But there are ways to mitigate and deter people from doing it, or if they do it, to slow them down, that we could take a look at if we are able to determine that there is a lot of cut-through traffic. And then there was something about a pork chop, I know, that's been discussed about, and I'm trying to remember, is it to not allow people to turn so that they wouldn't be able to cut through? Mr. Albo, would you mind? Are you? I know there's been a lot of things discussed, so.
Vice Mayor and council members, that is correct. There was a talk about a pork chop, and it was basically to force everybody to turn left and to make it hard for anybody from the apartment complex to go make a right turn into the community and try to get out onto the access on 75th Avenue.
Okay, thank you. So there's been a lot of discussions about other ways to mitigate, if there is cut-through traffic, to mitigate that. Councilmember Valdenegro.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I have a question. It seems like we have something in place through the city that we don't allow this, but may I ask, in all the years everyone's been here, how many times has something like this come up before? I understand we're being careful about setting a precedent, but how many times has this ever been brought up, if ever? I'm just curious to that.
I don't know the answer. I don't know that anybody has an answer to that.
And Vice Mayor, if I may, if the reason I ask that is, and again, forgive me if I'm just thinking out loud. If this is kind of one of those really rare, isolated incidents where it is literally not going to disrespect or offend the other 250,000 people in Glendale, but it keeps kids safe, and the city isn't paying for it, trash they can still, if somehow, and I'm not saying that's what we're doing. I'm just saying if there's something that the city can do to help this community, with however we word that, Mr. Phelps, I'm kind of stuck on this as well. I don't know how to say I appreciate the work that they've already kind of put into this. Again, if this is just an isolated thing that, again, is not going to, the city isn't going to come to a screeching halt, and we are keeping kids and families safe. I would like to think about those things other than signs. Not that council members' ideas about signs and other things. It seems something that the city should take a serious look at. Thank you.
Vice Mayor?
Councilmember Guzman?
Yeah. I understand their concern and everything, but the issue that we're supposed to be voting on isn't about a gate, it's about this resolution. So
Absolutely.
I think that's a whole different issue. Maybe if they want to bring it back to the council at a different time.
Right. They're welcome to run, I mean, I imagine, I'm going to ask Mr. Gruber, they could try to run a zoning case and ask for one gate if that's what they want to do, right? I mean, they could, they have the ability to ask for that in a zoning amendment, right?
Yes, Vice Mayor, members of the council, and planning, Tabitha could correct me if I'm mistaken, but yes, they would have the ability to bring their own case forward to amend.
Right, and they could
the
ask for one gate, two gates, however they want to run it. That's for them to decide if they want to do it, and then it's going to need to be approved by the normal process of any zoning change.
Vice Mayor, correct. It would follow the normal approval process for a PAD.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that
Vice-
being said,
Vice
any other
Mayor?
questions?
Vice Mayor?
Councilmember Conchas.
First of all, I want to thank all of the residents that came out to speak and all of those residents that have been engaged in this process. I understand the reason you're here is because you love your city, you love your neighborhood, but most of all because you love your family and you want to make sure that they're all safe. And so I have a question. I'm a new council member. When we have these development proposals and different things like this, do we also have a traffic study attached to it? Because I know that there are new apartment complexes in the Cactus District, particularly on 49th Avenue and Maryland, and thank you so much to the City Manager's Office for doing a traffic study there, but I just wanted to know if it's common practice or not. Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Lerma, or whoever.
Vice Mayor, members of the council, these type of projects that the traffic study is all going to be based on different criteria. This one specifically based on the number of units. That's what Transportation Department, they require a traffic impact analysis to be submitted as part of the zoning application, which was reviewed by our traffic department and approved.
Vice Mayor?
Yes.
And is there a particular threshold for when that traffic impact study is required for the number of units?
I'll have the Transportation Department answer that.
Vice Mayor, council members, yes, there are thresholds. Basically, it's when a development generates approximately 100 vehicles or more per day. And then we have a second level or more comprehensive level when it generates 500 vehicles or more a day. So yes, we do, anything that comes that basically meets the 100th threshold, then we automatically will require a study.
And so can you talk to me a little bit more about the traffic impact study for this particular zoning application?
Yes, so a traffic study was done for this one based on the number of units, and it looked at the intersections of Aspera, Rose Garden, and it also looked at the intersections with Loop 101. And basically, it looked at it for the build year as well as 2031. And with exception of one area for southbound traffic during the AM, most of it well into the future did not cause any traffic issues because there's a lot of capacity at the intersection itself. When you look at the outgoing traffic, there's 2 right lanes on Rose Garden, as well as a through lane and a left turn. So there is ample capacity at that intersection.
Thank you, sir. That's all that the questions that I have. Vice Mayor, the one thing that I'll say is that I'm stuck between voting yes because this the developer is great and has worked really well with the community, and also voting no because the residents aren't satisfied with the result as it is now and not addressing their issues, and they came here to speak to us. And so I just wanted to explain that to the folks that are here, and that I hear you, I see you, and I understand, and I want to make sure that you know that we are listening to you. Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Oh, Mr. Phelps.
So just some context for those, and again, this is a policy decision, but with regards to amending the PAD, that becomes a staff process on the front end. And what I would say is the staff will approach this agnostically, meaning like we do for all types of amended PADs and rezoning, is that we go there supporting the applicant, and we help them through the process. Our concern will be to make sure that it follows state statutes, our local ordinances, we'll make sure that safety issues don't come into call. Our operational issues, like how our solid waste and bulk trash, all those are impacted by something along this way. But we won't go in with a predetermined, we're for this or we're against this. What we will do is help the applicant, like we always do within our planning department, is help them and answer questions for them and give them guidance on how to process the application. So then eventually it'll go in front of your planning commission. Planning commission will do the same, and from my experience with our planning commission, they'll work hard to try to understand what the application is about, make sure the questions have been answered, and then they'll forward it to you for a recommendation. So I think the solution here is to just work the process. I know that my planning director, my planning team will be more than ready to help answer the questions. But if it's a problem, if all of a sudden we determine that operationally this does not work for our citizens, or that it's in conflict with current practices, current laws, then obviously we will have to weigh in and say we would not support this. But we won't go into the process already for or against it. We will be very agnostic and just try to work it through its system and see where it comes out at.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Phelps. Anyone else? I would like to point out, though, for you, Councilmember Conchas, that the developer has offered to fund their zoning case, which is, I mean, this developer has really, really worked hard to get these residents, and I think everybody here was in agreement that they have worked really hard to get the community buy-in. This is a really nice project. If you looked at the renderings, I mean, it's, you know, the design is compatible with their neighborhood. And I mean, my opinion, I mean, I live nearby, and I mean, my preference would be single-family homes too. Unfortunately, the reality is the higher land cost is in multifamily. And the reality is that this is going to be a multifamily project. And this isn't the first developer that's tried to develop this site. These residents know that. And we found a developer that wanted to be a good neighbor. And I think everybody would agree that we found a developer that wants to be a good neighbor. And so I often think, be careful what you wish for, because we have found somebody who has really gone above and beyond to prove that they want to be a good neighbor. And so I know that, you know, I mean, it's, sometimes you just have to, and I mean, obviously, and I appreciate Mr. Phelps clarifying that the city will process the zoning case and whatever the end result is. And if the end result is that a gate's not approved or you don't want to do, then there's other factors and things that our traffic engineers could do if we determine that there's an impact in your neighborhood to mitigate I mean, we're not saying we're not going to deal with, you know, cut through traffic and speeding in your neighborhood, but there's a process for that, and that's not what we're doing tonight. So if anybody has anything further to say, okay, then I'm going to ask for a motion on Resolution R2532.
Vice Mayor, I move we pass and adopt Resolution R2532, approving the general plan amendment GPA 24-04 and waive reading beyond the title.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'm going to do a roll call vote. Councilmember Baldenegro.
I'd like to explain my vote. I'm going to vote yay, but I'm also going to say that I really hope that our planning department really works closely with the families and the residents, that we can come to a sensible, reasonable solution that keeps everyone happy. Thank you.
Councilmember Conchas.
I would like to explain my vote.
Sure.
I'm going to vote yes, and I'm hearing the residents, and I'm looking at this case just as the case that it is, and it's a really good case. So as Councilmember Baldenegro said, hopefully we can mitigate those traffic issues, but I vote yes. Thank you.
Councilmember Guzman.
I'm going to vote yes, but I want to explain also. I appreciate the neighbors coming. You've obviously done a lot of work here to get the developers to work with you. And I think that it's probably a good thing that you follow, like Mr. Phelps had said, the process in maybe trying to change the zoning. But we do appreciate you coming and voicing your concerns.
And you voted aye? Okay, Councilmember Melner.
I'd like to explain my vote as well.
Okay.
I really appreciate what's been stated here tonight. The issue at hand, I think, we can't really separate. Councilmember Guzman said, this isn't a vote on the gate, but it really is. It is really a vote on approving it and then may or may not affect the gate. So I think the discussion has been very relevant regarding that. I will strongly support the residents in coming up with a solution. I don't know what that solution is, but I will support it. And I really appreciate the developer doing what they have done to support the residents in that sense. And so when this comes before us, if it does again, I will support the residents in coming up with a solution, and I vote aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Turner.
I vote aye.
Okay, thank you. And I vote aye as well. Moving on to ordinance number, oh, that's not the ordinance number, 02717. I need a motion for that.
Vice Mayor, I move we adopt ordinance 025-17, rezoning 19.4 acres located west of the southwest corner of 75th Avenue and Rose Garden Lane.
I need a second. Okay, thank you. Motion and a second. Roll call vote. Councilmember Baldenegro.
Aye.
Councilmember Conchas. Councilmember Guzman. Councilmember Melner.
Aye.
Councilmember Turner.
I'd like to explain my vote if I might.
Okay.
Thank you. I definitely appreciate the neighbors that have turned out tonight and shared with us the problem that you have with the pass-through traffic there. As has been mentioned, there may be prior steps to a gate that can be taken to help mitigate that traffic concern. And as been mentioned to you, it's certainly well within your rights to come back and ask for a rezoning. I would just, if I'm on the council, one of the things that I will be looking for is an example of other communities, other neighborhoods in Glendale that have one open entrance and one gated entrance. And so just to let you know one place to start working. And with that, I vote aye.
Thank you, Councilmember Turner. And I'd like to explain my vote. I do want to thank the neighbors. I mean, the input has been valuable, and you've been heard by the developer. I mean, they have really, I think, tried. You don't often get to choose your neighbors. I feel like this time you actually have chosen your neighbor, because there's been, this is, I think, the third developer since I've been on the council that sought to develop this site, and they've worked really hard to try to make this a project that is not going to, affect your neighborhood, affect your property values. And I'm willing to continue to work with you on mitigating the traffic. So I think everybody here knows how to get in touch with me, and I'm happy to help you. We can do the car count, however you want to proceed. You know how to get in touch with me, and I'm happy to help you work through this issue. And with that, I vote aye. Thank you. Ms. Bowers, can you introduce item number 24?
Resolution number R 25-33, a resolution of the council of the city of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, amending the general plan map of the city of Glendale, Arizona by approving general plan amendment GPA 24-02 for property located south of the southwest corner of 99th Avenue and Ballpark Boulevard, and ordinance number O 25-18, an ordinance of the council of the city of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, rezoning 39 acres located south of the southwest corner of 99th Avenue and Ballpark Boulevard from A1 agricultural to PAD planned area development or development plan entitled Envision Encore, amending the zoning map, providing for an effective date, and ordering that a certified copy of the ordinance is recorded. Public hearing required.
Public hearing on item number 24, resolution R 2533, and ordinance 2518 is now open. Go ahead, Mr. Lerma.
Vice Mayor, members of the council, before you, you have two requests. The first request entails minor general plan amendment to change the property's land use designation from business park to entertainment mixed use. The second request is for land use action to change the property's zoning classification from agriculture to planned area development in order to allow a high-density mixed-use development. The property is located 5 miles southwest of City Hall. It's 39 acres in size and is located south of the southwest corner of 99th Avenue and Ballpark Boulevard. Property is located within the Yucca District. Before you, you'll see the zoning map with the property highlighted. Again, it identifies the property as agriculture. Surrounding the property are properties that are zoned planned area development, which will be compatible with the zoning that the property owner is requesting. Property has historically been used for agriculture purpose and remains with as an unimproved area. Surrounding the property are going to be commercial uses and industrial uses, with exception to the low-density residential properties to the west. The request is to establish a planned area development in order to allow the entitlements for the property and establish a regulatory framework in order to develop a mixed-use project that will entail high-density multifamily housing and diverse commercial employment. The development will be complementary and enhance the sports and entertainment district. There is no development plan associated with the PAD at this point. Primary access is anticipated to be along 99th Avenue. The item went before the Planning Commission on March 27, 2025. There were no speakers for this item and no major concerns were raised. The Planning Commission recommended approval of GPA 2402 as written and forward a recommendation to City Council for approval of ZON 2402, subject to the stipulations included within the staff report. Vice Mayor, members of the council, this concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Lerma. Any questions from the council? Okay, I have one speaker card, Margaret Schultz. You have 3 minutes, Margaret.
Thank you. Good evening, Vice Mayor and council members. My name is Margaret Schultz with Worker Power Institute. I'm here about the Envision Encore PAD. We support the proposed plan to develop multifamily housing in an area of Glendale that has seen mostly commercial development. However, we question the proposed inclusion of hotels. Why not keep the commercial development related to services that residents will directly benefit from, like the mentioned cafes and daycare centers, and maximize the amount of housing for the community? Glendale needs more housing. A recent study on housing affordability points out the average home costs 55.2% more than it did at the end of 2019, in part because supply has not kept up with demand. If Glendale continues at its current rate of permitting residential development, it will take 16.8 years to close its housing shortage. On a recent podcast, City Manager Kevin Phelps spoke about the philosophy of attracting large businesses over building housing. He says, for every rooftop that we build in Glendale, we lose money. Is this the kind of governance that will help Glendale get out of its housing crisis? Glendale needs leaders who see housing as a critical investment for residents. Housing has become increasingly out of reach for middle-class and working-class families, and many young people like myself are unsure if they will be able to own homes in the future. Given the ongoing crisis in Glendale, we ask that the City Council consider preserving as much housing as possible in this proposed development. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ms. Bauer, any other speaker cards?
No, Vice Mayor.
Okay. Oh, we do have one more. I would say your name, but I don't have it yet.
I'm Jack Weinberger. I represent Porterfields, the Fram and the Washburn families. This is the last piece of the Vision 4 project that was Kevin's idea some years ago, and the council sometime in the past, I think very wisely voted in favor of that. And we just wanted to thank Kevin and Tabitha and the city. They've been just a joy to work with and so helpful. And that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, the public hearing on item number 24 is now closed. Can we get a motion for resolution R2533?
Yes, Vice Mayor, I motion to approve resolution number R25-33.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'm going to do a roll call vote. Councilmember Baldenegro,
Aye.
Councilmember Conchas,
Aye.
Councilmember Guzman,
Aye.
Councilmember Melnar,
Aye.
Councilmember Turner,
Aye.
and I vote aye. That carries. Can we get a motion on ordinance number 2518?
Yes, Vice Mayor, I motion to approve ordinance number 025-18.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'll conduct a roll call vote. Councilmember Baldenegro,
Aye.
Councilmember Conchas,
Aye.
Councilmember Guzman,
Aye.
Councilmember Melnar,
Aye.
Councilmember Turner.
Explain my vote if I may.
Yes, you may.
Thank you. To the resident, I suppose, who's interested in affordable housing, I don't know of a community in the valley that's doing more for affordable housing than we are. We have projects all over our city, particularly up the Glendale Avenue corridor, but north and south of that as well. I know well how much families need good affordable housing, but they also need good jobs too. And the ability to keep all opportunities for employment available in this, including a potential hotel and the wide range of employment that it can provide, I think is important. Just as important as having affordable housing is to have good paying jobs at all levels. So with that, I vote aye.
Thank you, and I vote aye as well. The motion carries. Next item is item number 25. Will you please read the item by number and title, Ms. Bauer?
Ordinance number 025-19, an ordinance of the mayor and the council of the city of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona. 1, authorizing the execution and delivery of a purchase agreement, a trust agreement, a continuing disclosure undertaking, and an obligation purchase contract. 2, approving the sale, execution, and delivery of water and sewer revenue and revenue refunding obligations in one or more series in order to finance improvements of the city's water and sewer system and to refund water and sewer revenue obligations previously executed and delivered on behalf of the city. 3, pledging certain water and sewer system revenues imposed or received by the city to the payment of such obligations. 4, delegating to an authorized officer of the city the limited authority to designate by series the final principal amount, maturities, interest rates, and other matters with respect to such obligations. And 5, authorizing the taking of all other actions necessary to the consummation of the transactions contemplated by this ordinance, including the execution of certain documents and the distribution of a preliminary official statement and an official statement.
Vice Mayor, members of the council, here to provide staff report is Budget and Finance Director Levi Gibson.
Thank you, Mr. Phelps. Good evening, Vice Mayor and City Council members. This item is to adopt an ordinance authorizing the city manager, assistant city manager, or budget and finance director to execute documents and take necessary actions to issue City of Glendale water and sewer revenue and revenue refunding obligations. This transaction is a current refunding of the 2015 senior lien water and sewer obligations with an estimated savings through the refunding of approximately $700,000 based on current market conditions. The amount of water and sewer revenue bonds to be issued are in an amount not to exceed $50 million and pledge water and sewer revenues to the new debt issuance. Representatives from RBC Capital Markets, the city's underwriter, and Greenberg Traurig, LLP, the city's bond counsel, are available for any questions that you might have. With that, this concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson. Any questions? Okay, thank you. Can we get a motion?
Vice Mayor?
Yes.
I'm not going to read the whole title. Ordinance, I move that the council approve ordinance number 025-19 and waive reading beyond the title.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I will do a roll call vote. Councilmember Baldenegro?
Aye.
Councilmember Conchas?
Aye.
Councilmember Guzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Melnar?
Aye.
Councilmember Turner?
If I may explain my vote briefly,
you may.
I promise. This is a great opportunity for us to save some money for our taxpayers. If any residents have greater interest in this subject, we discussed it at length in our workshop earlier today, and you can find that on YouTube, Facebook, and online, and Channel 11. So happy watching, and with that, I vote aye.
Thank you, Councilmember Turner, and I vote aye also. The motion carries. Next item is Ordinance 02520, number 26. Ms. Bauer, could you introduce it, please?
Ordinance number O-25-20, an ordinance of the council of the city of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona, amending the Glendale City Code, Chapter 24, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Article 4, Specific Parking Prohibitions, Section 24-68, Parking on Residential Lots, and Chapter 25, Nuisances, Article 3, Administration and Enforcement, Sections 25-36, Enforcement General, and Section 25-42, Court-Ordered Abatement, and setting forth an effective date.
Vice Mayor, members of the council, here provide staff report this evening is Deputy City Manager Rick St. John.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, members of the council. This is a request for council to adopt an ordinance changing some of the provisions that currently exist in our code and then adding a provision that when we adopted the new UDC was accidentally left off. So the first is making it a civil violation to physically interfere with a code enforcement inspector in the performance of their duties. The second is allowing for court-ordered abatement for any violation of the Glendale City Code. And then lastly, the one that was left off from the EDC and unintentionally was prohibiting the parking of construction equipment and construction-related equipment on residential properties. For any constituents that would like to know more about this, this was discussed in detail at the workshop on March 25th. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mr. St. John. Anyone have any questions?
Vice Mayor?
Councilmember Conchas?
Yes. So this is all going to be in one package. Is that correct? And I know that for my district, we have a lot of folks, like we mentioned, who have small businesses and have particularly some of these trailers. So is there going to be a period before this ordinance is in effect, or if the council approves it tonight, will it be in effect immediately?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilmember Conchas, there is a 30-day period for the ordinance to codify, but I would remind the council and anybody listening to the meeting that if it is illegal to park the construction-related equipment on the property after this ordinance is passed, it's also illegal today in a different section of the code that talks about parking of commercial vehicles on residential properties. So this addition doesn't change any of the behaviors that are allowed in our communities. It simply clarifies for your constituents a little better than the commercial vehicle code does what we do consider construction-related equipment like backhoes and dirt movers and things of that nature. Those are not allowed to be parked on residential properties today, and it'll be just better clarified 30 days from now when this codifies.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No speakers? Okay, thank you, Mr. St. John. Okay, can I get a motion?
Vice Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 025-20.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Councilmember Baldenegro?
Aye.
Councilmember Conchas?
May I explain my vote?
Yes, you may.
I will vote aye, and the reason I'm voting aye is because this is very important. I think code compliance is extremely important, especially in the Cactus District, and so thank you, Mr. St. John, and the city staff for answering all my questions. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Did you vote aye?
Yes.
Okay. Councilmember Guzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Melner?
Aye.
Councilmember Turner?
Aye.
And I vote aye. The motion carries. Next item, Ms. Bauer, could you please read item number 27?
Ordinance number O-25-21, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Glendale, Maricopa County, Arizona. 1, authorizing the execution and delivery of a 5th purchase agreement, a 5th trust agreement, a depository trust agreement, a continuing disclosure undertaking, and an obligation purchase contract. 2, approving the sale, execution, and delivery of excise tax revenue and revenue refunding obligations in one or more series in order to finance various city improvements and to refund excise tax revenue obligations previously delivered on behalf of the city. 3, pledging certain excise taxes and receipts imposed or received by the city to the payment of such obligations. 4, delegating to an authorized officer of the city the limited authority to designate by series the final principal amount, maturities, interest rates, and other matters with respect to such obligations. And 5, authorizing the taking of all other actions necessary to the consummation of the transactions contemplated by this ordinance, including the execution of certain documents and the distribution of a preliminary official statement and an official statement.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions? No speaker cards? Okay, can we get a motion?
Vice Mayor, would you like a staff report on this?
Oh,
or-
I'm sorry. Well, I guess so, since you're standing there.
Levi Gibson.
again. Levi Gibson
It's been
with
a
Budget
long
and
day.
Finance. This
Go ahead,
item,
Mr. Gibson.
Thank you. This item is to adopt an ordinance authorizing the city manager, assistant city manager, or budget and finance director to execute documents and take the necessary actions to refinance all or a portion of the prior 2015A obligations. Additionally, a cash defeasance of all or a portion of the prior 2008B bonds and the prior 2015B bonds, using not to exceed $32 million of cash programmed for capital projects of the city, and to finance such current capital projects through the sale, execution, and delivery of the excise tax revenue obligations. Under current bond market conditions, the refunding series of the 2015A obligations is estimated to save approximately $1.6 million. It is estimated that the cash defeasance of a portion of the 2008B and the 2015B bonds will save approximately $3.69 million net of all costs. Representatives from RBC Capital Markets, the city's underwriter, and Greenberg Traurig, the city's bond counsel, are available for any questions. And with that, we would be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson. Now, does anybody have any questions? Okay, and no speaker cards?
No.
Okay, thank you. Can we get a motion?
Yes, Vice Mayor, I motion to approve ordinance 025-21.
Second.
Okay. Motion and a second. Roll call vote. Councilmember Valdenegro?
Aye.
Councilmember Conchas?
Aye.
Councilmember Guzman?
I'd like to explain my vote.
Yes, ma'am.
This was another issue that we discussed in our workshop, and it's another incident where the city is saving our taxpayers quite a bit of money. I vote aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Melner?
Aye.
Councilmember Turner?
Aye.
And I vote aye. The motion carries. Next item is item number 28.
Approval of the fiscal year 23-24 annual comprehensive financial report and annual audit.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council. I promise this is the last time you'll see me today. This item is a requirement of state statutes that require the council to approve the audit of the financial statements. This is for fiscal year 2024 audited financial statements. The statute also requires the auditor to present the results and any findings to the City Council as a non-consent agenda item. We have Ms. Jean Marie Dietrich from Clifton Larson Allen, our financial auditor, here to make that presentation. And with that, I'll turn it over to her.
Good evening, and thank you, Vice Mayor and council members, for providing us this time to present our audit results of the City of Glendale, Arizona for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2024. My name is Jean Marie Dietrich, and I'm the principal responsible for signing your audit engagement. In performing our audit, we do a risk-based approach. We obtain management's assertion on their financial statements, whether they're complete, accurate, whether their rights and obligations are presently disclosed, and that we look for any opportunity for material misstatements. We then perform our work, and then we provide any findings or any recommendations to management, and then we work with management to complete the audit, but we work for you as council, and we present our findings to you. Within the reporting package, you also have your required communication to governance, your annual comprehensive financial report, a single audit report in accordance with uniform guidance, your highway user revenue compliance report, your annual expenditure limitation report, as well as your HUD real estate assessment report. And finally, an agreed upon procedures of your landfill assurance. In our required governance communication, we noted one change in accounting policies associated with GASB statement number 100. This changed the presentation when there is a change in major fund. It also changed the presentation when there's a restatement of your financial statements. We evaluated the adoption, and we found that management applied the new standard in accordance with guidance. We evaluate the estimates to arrive at your financial statements. We did not identify any accounting financial estimates that we would deem have a higher uncertainty risk. We also evaluated those estimates that are used to arrive at your financial statements, and we did not identify any management bias at arriving at those estimates. There were no uncorrected misstatements, and there were no difficulties encountered in arriving at our audit opinions. And we want to thank management. We want to thank Mr. Gibson and his management team for being very transparent and timely in providing any of our required samples and testing requests. There were no material audit adjustments and no fraudulent or unusual transactions identified as a result of our audit procedures, and we had no disagreements with management. We do discuss new policies and new standards with management throughout the year, but none of those discussions were contingent as our engagement as your external auditors. Within your annual comprehensive financial statement, there are 5 components. The one is the basic financial statements, and we issue an audit opinion on those financial statements. Then you also have combining fund financial statements, what we call supplementary information. We make sure that information is consistent, and we opine on that as well. We also have your financial data submission schedules associated with your REACT filings, as well as your required supplementary information. And I'm pleased to let you know that we have rendered in a modified, clean opinion on your financial statements, which is the highest level of assurance a firm can provide. As a result of your single audit in accordance with uniform guidance, there were 3, 4, 5 major programs tested, which represented about 59% of your total federal expenditures of $52.2 million. Having tested 5 major programs, we only had 1 significant deficiency and no material weaknesses. And I think management should be commended for that. That shows that they put compliance seriously with having only 1 finding. We have issued clean, unmodified opinions over your compliance, as well as your internal control over financial reporting. With your highway user revenue fund compliance, we selected samples of accounts payable, both non-payroll disbursements and payroll disbursements, to make sure that they were in accordance with compliance with the Arizona revised statutes. And pleased to let you know that we had no findings to report to this body. The voter-approved alternative expenditure limitation was $730.7 million. The amount subject to the limitation was $492 million. The city was well within this expenditure limitation in their annual expenditure limitation report. In regards to the landfill assurance and your HUD real estate assessment, we issued clean opinions with no findings. And that is our presentation of the audit of the City of Glendale, Arizona for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2024.
Thank you, Ms. Diedrich. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you very much for your work.
Thank you.
Okay. Can I get a motion on item number 28, new business? Anyone?
I'll make the motion to approve item number 28.
I will second it, Councilmember Melnar, just to celebrate you being here this evening. Okay. I'll do a roll call vote. Councilmember Baldenegro.
Aye.
Councilmember Conchas.
May I explain my vote?
Yes.
I vote yes, and I just want to say thank you to the entire team, the city manager's office. Thank you to our budget and finance office for a great audit. And I vote yes.
Okay. Councilmember Guzman.
Yes.
Councilmember Melnar.
Aye.
Councilmember Turner.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay. Next, we have council comments and suggestions. Councilmember Baldenegro, do you have anything?
Yes, I do. I'd like to thank everyone for their patience tonight. This meeting was a marathon, not a sprint. And thank you for being here and being very attentive. I also like to invite the Ocotillo District. We're having 3 mini meetings the next 3 days. One at O'Neill Park Community Center, one at the I call it the youth center. It's the Ocotillo Downtown Community Center off of 54th Avenue, Ocotillo. And then on Thursday, and the third one will be at the Mountain Park Health Center, roughly 69th Avenue in Glendale. I'd like to invite all Ocotillo District residents to come and ask me all your questions, introduce yourself, ask me what, the questions, the things you want to know, the concerns, and again, 3 mini meetings the next 3 days. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Conchas, do you have anything?
Yes, Vice Mayor. Thank you, Vice Mayor and colleagues. First, I want to take a moment to appreciate the boards and commission appointments that happened earlier tonight. Thank you to Gary Hirsch for your willingness to serve on the Citizens Bond Committee representing the Cactus District. Your years of community involvement and your deep knowledge of Glendale's history and future make you a perfect choice for this role. We are lucky to have you stepping in this role once again. And also to former council member Ian Hugh, welcome back. Your continued leadership and institutional knowledge will be a tremendous asset to this committee. Thank you, Mayor Wires, for this thoughtful appointment and having 2 Cactus Districts folks on that committee. Next, I want to strongly voice my support for the consent items 4, 5, and 6, our agreements for heat relief and respite services in partnership with the Phoenix Rescue Mission and the Arizona Faith Network. These are life-saving services, and I'm proud that Glendale is taking action to protect our vulnerable communities and our residents during the hottest months. These programs not only offer water and shelter, but also connection, community, and places for people to connect to long-term services, such as housing, transportation, healthcare, hope, and more. And finally, I want to invite the community to our Neighborhood Beautification Volunteer Day this Saturday, April 26th at Mary Silva Park. Join us early at 7:30 a.m. to help clean up and uplift your neighborhood before the summer heat rolls in. Sign up on our by emailing my office or come to the park on Saturday. We look forward to seeing you. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Councilmember Guzman.
Yes, Vice Mayor, I have a comment. I want to remind everybody that this Saturday is Hook a Kid on Fishing, and it's also the contest between Councilmember Baldenegro and myself for the fishing challenge. So please come out and support us. It's going to be a fun event.
Thank you. Councilmember Melner?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I want to thank everyone for the many prayers and words of encouragement over the past 6 months while I was receiving treatment and surgery for colon cancer. Prognosis is looking very, very positive, and I continue to gain strength and stamina. I'm really looking forward to continuing to attend meetings in person. Thank you.
We're very happy to have you back, Councilmember Melner. Councilmember Turner.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to say that it is very good to have you back with us in person and to acknowledge your dedication, that even though you're receiving the treatment that you were in strong attendance over the telephone and fulfilling your role representing your constituents. I admire that. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. And I don't have anything. So the next thing on the agenda is citizen comments. First, we have Sophia Gomez. Sophia, are you here? Thank you. Just give us your district if you know it or your approximate cross streets.
I think my district is Ocotillo. Sorry if I'm butchering that. Good evening, Vice Chair. Oh, my name is Sophia Gomez. Good evening, Vice Chair and members of the City Council. I will be giving the same comment I gave last week at the Arts Commission, so if certain things don't make sense, that's the reason why. My name is Sophia Gomez, and I live in Glendale. I'm here as a resident and a longtime supporter of the arts in our city. I wanted to take a moment to thank the Commission for your support of public art, especially the efforts around community engagement and public beautification efforts. I've lived here since I was 6, and I'm proud to see the way the community has developed and flourished over the years. I'd like to respectfully suggest the Commission or City Council consider expanding representation within the Arts Commission by reserving and/or adding a youth position. As a teenage resident of Glendale, I would love to see youth representation within the Arts Commission, especially since it can expand the perspectives within the Commission. I'm glad to see this representation within the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission and the Library Advisory Board, but would also like to see this in the Arts Commission. This would give youth a larger space to be heard, promote youth involvement and engagement with the affairs of the city, and help students on their path to become civically involved adults. Many passionate young members of our community would be happy to share their invaluable thoughts and opinions with the city. Moreover, this will certainly help teenagers develop their communication and advocacy skills within a space they are passionate about. I believe this kind of representation can support our community and highlight the incredible people we have in our city. I'd be happy to help organize community input or be involved in any pilot efforts. Thank you for your time and for everything you do to support the arts in Glendale. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Gomez. James Dibler, you're up.
Hi, my name is James Dibler. I am a resident of Phoenix. Today, I'm speaking to you regarding Exxon Enterprise new headquarters. It has been reported that the city of Stockton does not want its Exxon headquarters to be in their backyard due to traffic entering the area and new proposed apartments to attract new Exxon headquarters. The city of Glendale should provide tax incentives to attract new jobs. There is a need to consider Exxon Enterprises for a new headquarters in Glendale, Arizona. It would be a great fit for our community to have this new headquarters. It would be fine to bring jobs into the city of Glendale. Thank you for taking the time to consider this matter.
Thank you, Mr. Dibler. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.
By a long shot. By an hour. And I was supposed to have a dinner date tonight, but we